This is another nail in the coffin for the intelligence community, who sold out their expertise for political expediency. And we see it across so many issues. The experts are willing to sell out everything they've worked for and built trust in just to help Democrats win elections.
They were all over Trump every single day, the incoming, trying to delegitimize him in every possible way. But these are the seeds of the whole Russia mess, all of it. And you can tell, in my opinion, that he's guilty.
This is just a little bit of what it looks like on the other side of the information spectrum when folks are desperate to talk about just about anything other than Donald Trump's plunging approval rating over his handling of the economy and immigration, and especially Jeffrey Epstein. And that was just a snippet from Newsmax, a network more than happy and willing to carry Donald Trump's water, finding new ways to avoid addressing Donald Trump's Epstein problem, which matters a lot to their viewers, by continuing the absurd and unfounded claims made by Donald Trump's new director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Claims that go something like this: that former President Barack Obama and members of his intelligence team committed acts of what they call treason regarding the handling of intelligence about Russia trying to meddle in the 2016 election. Joining our conversation is New York Times investigative reporter, MSNBC national security reporter Mike Schmidt, and former top official at the Department of Justice, MSNBC legal analyst Andrew Weissman. Mike, this is the topic of the Daily today on the New York Times, and I wonder if you can take us through how they are navigating the fact that Marco Rubio, who has at least 2 or 3 jobs in the Trump cabinet, is the author of the most damning report on Trump's ties to Russia.
Well, they don't really obviously talk about that. You're talking about the Senate Intelligence Committee report that was released in the final weeks before the 2020 election. And of the reports about Trump's ties to Russia, it is one of the harshest by far. It includes a lot of things that go far beyond what the Mueller report said, and it really not only backs up what the intelligence community did under the Obama administration, but it shows the larger connections between Trump's orbit and Russia, and dating back not just from the 2016 election. In looking at what the Trump administration has done in the past few weeks, the most significant thing that I saw was this gap. And there's a massive gap between what these intelligence officials claim is in these documents that they are releasing publicly and what they actually say. And what happens is whether it's Tulsi Gabbard or CIA Director Ratcliffe or Kash Patel, they go out and they make these massive claims that they say truly unlock the Russia conspiracy. And, they're hoping, apparently, at least it looks like that their supporters aren't going to go and read the actual materials that they're putting out. But when you read them and study them and look at them, they're not what they claim to be. But at the same time, they're making massive claims, Tulsi Gabbard making claims of treasonous criminality by Obama and his intelligence community officials, but not doing that based on anything that really moves the ball in terms of proving that conspiracy.
Well, and with Ratcliffe, he orders the CIA to examine the assessment. The CIA examines the 2016 assessment, confirms the underlying intelligence, has a few notes about tradecraft, and Ratcliffe goes out and lies about what his own workforce found. What does the Gabbard example look like? Is it a similar playbook?
The Gabbard example is similar. She puts out a report that had been completed by House Republicans during Trump's first term that came to a different conclusion about whether that assessment was accurate or not. And she puts it out and claims that it shows a treasonous conspiracy by Obama and setting up these referrals to the Justice Department, and the Justice Department, going ahead to take some sort of investigative moves to move towards a criminal investigation. And the thing that we noticed when we looked at this is that there's a level of sophistication to what the Trump officials are doing that is different than Trump's first term. If you think about retribution and weaponization of the government in Trump's first term, it was largely Trump jumping up and down publicly and privately, trying to get the Justice Department to investigate his enemies. A lot of times they were investigated. They never moved forward with prosecutions. He was very frustrated about that. In this second term, no one really needs to be told what Trump wants. It is pretty clear what Trump wants, and the officials that he has working for him are of the same mind. They all see the world the same way. And what we see them doing is moving the ball around the court and teeing each other up differently, to get them to some sort of criminal investigation. You have the intelligence community taking the fruits of what it does, or whatever classified stuff that it has, declassifying it, sending referrals to the Justice Department, and putting the department in a place to go forward and say, okay, we are looking at this, and using the specter of criminality to examine Trump's foes, the original foes like Obama, Brennan, and Comey.
I mean, Andrew Weissmann, I don't know what moves the men in the manosphere, but it looks so freaking lame and weak to be so obsessed with Obama. I mean, what is this really about, in your view?
Well, I think this is an enormous amount of disinformation. I mean, it is, and that is a polite term for a bunch of lies. I want to make it clear what the two stories are, because they're completely inconsistent, that the administration is coming up with. The first is that Obama changed deliberately the intelligence because Russia did not, in fact, interfere in the 2016 election. That's the claim. And what they use for that is statements that the intelligence community found that although Russia actually had a huge troll farm trying to win the election for Donald Trump and against Hillary Clinton, although they hacked into the DNC and released damaging emails at opportune times for the Trump campaign and against Hillary Clinton, they said the intelligence was that the Russians, although they tried to get into actual election voting machines, did not do that. And Tulsi Gabbard has taken that last statement out of context to say, see, they knew that Russia didn't meddle. That is just false and misleading. That's step one. The second and inconsistent position is that they say that the Russians did meddle, but all they wanted to do is just interfere in general with and dissent in general and distrust, but not for or against any particular candidate. That is also false, and you can read in black and white, whether it's in the Mueller indictments, whether it's in the Senate Intel report, that they are explicit in black and white. It's not something that is subject to sort of opinions. It is absolutely one-sided on this. And so this is just really a disinformation campaign for its base.